Supporting businesses during the pandemic means supporting people during the pandemic. Supporting businesses during the pandemic means supporting workers. Companies, like other institutions, are vehicles, mere shells with people who decide all aspects. The left complains that the government should not support business. The left is against business and for workers, but it is an unwise position. If you are pro-worker, logic dictates that you be pro-business to ensure that companies create and maintain employment and value in the economy. Supporting businesses during a pandemic. Society needs companies to hire people to provide the necessary goods and services. Without businesses, the government has no income, charities have no funds, and the economy has no sustainable economic wealth. Governments do not create productive jobs in the long term. That's why we need to focus on supporting businesses to keep people on their payrolls during and after the pandemic. By combining this approach with proper planning and empathetic and effective leadership, we will preserve lives and protect the economy. Denmark did the right thing, Canada followed suit, but Mr. Trump continued his narcissistic approach based on his rising television audience rates. The Dane is trying to avoid mass layoffs. They will pay 75% of the salaries of employees of private companies affected by the pandemic. In fact, the government will pay for some people to stay in their homes. Those who continue to work do not benefit from this benefit, which is estimated to cost about $2.5 trillion, or 13% of GDP, over 3 months. In addition, the Danish government has agreed to guarantee 70% of new business banking loans to avoid the closure of the financial sector. The government hopes that this funding will encourage new loans. Canada focuses on business support during pandemic. Canada has announced an $82 billion aid program, or 4% of GDP, to help Canadians and businesses. It includes $27 billion in direct income and salary support, and $55 billion to help businesses raise cash through tax deferrals. Lending to small businesses that need help to maintain their payroll is a crucial step. But these companies must not lay off workers. This approach allows businesses to reach pre-pandemic levels once we have overcome the crisis. The alternative is to allow companies to lay off workers who then apply for unemployment benefits. However, when people are unemployed, they become stressed and demotivated and risk leaving the labor market. In addition, the company could close without this support, and the remaining companies will have to retrain workers. It is much more difficult to restart a business after it closes than to set it aside and keep it open until the pandemic has passed. People, businesses, and the economy are better off thanks to the Danish approach. 7 Corporate tax and corporate social protection changes. The measures taken by governments to protect businesses are aid to the band. If they had a level playing field, without a business tax or social protection, companies would be better off in the event of a crisis and would not turn to them for help. This pandemic is an opportunity to reflect on how to develop new approaches to corporate taxation and corporate social protection. Once we recover from the effects of the pandemic, the Canadian and U.S. governments should phase in these changes. Eliminate corporate taxes. Do not pay social benefits to businesses. Prohibit share repurchases. CEOs, board members and executives should not receive bonuses if they lay off workers in the previous 5 consecutive years. Hold CEOs accountable for the proven fraudulent activities of their company of which they were aware. Holding the company, not the CEO, responsible while paying huge bonuses to the CEO penalizes shareholders and rewards the CEO. CEOs must reimburse bonuses earned during the fraudulent period, even if they were not involved. At each annual general meeting, CEOs must provide shareholders with a personal letter stating that in the past year they have exercised due diligence and that they and their senior executives are not aware of fraudulent or unethical activities within the company. God only knows when and how we are going through this crisis. However, we know that the main concern of the American leader, asinine and narcissistic, is about him and his ratings. Let us pray that he puts aside his attention to his television audience and realizes that his reckless behavior harms not only his supporters in the United States, but also others who listen to him.